Welcome to the next episode of Just Peachy. My name is Peachie Thompson, and I'm your host. Just Peachy is a show where we interview leaders and subject matter experts in the fields of finances, insurance, and taxes. We do have a lifestyle section where we talk about everything and anything under the sun. And today we are going to talk about meal planning for healthy eating. And I have the pleasure of introducing to you our next guest speaker. She is a culinary nutritionist, a registered dietitian, certified health coach, personal trainer, and owner of Keeping Health Simple Club, Miss Alexia Lewis. Alexia, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, Alexia, so you have such a diverse background. And rather than me telling the viewers who you are, what you've done, why don't you tell us your story?
Yeah, I would love to. I have been a registered dietitian and in the health field since 2012. I always have to think about that. And the reason that I became a dietitian midlife is because I had a heart attack at age 37. And so that changed my career. And now I say I believe life is better with science, humor, and of course, delicious food. So I founded the Keeping Healthy Simple Club in 2020. And through that, right now I'm focused on offering virtual online cooking classes. And I just released a Keeping Meal Planning Simple online course. The goal of the business is really, it's all in the name. It's to help people keep things simple. Because one thing I learned over 10 years of coaching individuals on their health is many people overcomplicate healthy living. So let's keep it simple. And I'm really trying to create a community where people are confident in their lifestyle choices and comfortable in their bodies.
Yes, I know that we've had this conversation before, and you totally understand how people could get confused and overwhelmed with making the right choices for health. So today we're going to talk about that. First and foremost, I love food. Everybody knows that. And then I love to cook. So this is perfect. And a lot of our viewers as well, I'm sure, are very interested in not only learning how to keep being healthy simple, but also that meal planning. It's very difficult, especially for a family or someone like me who's always on the go. So I can't wait to hear about what you're gonna talk to us about. With that, Alexia, let's simplify it for our viewers, right? Let's start with, what is meal planning and why is it different from meal prepping?
Yeah, so those are two terms that you probably hear all the time: meal plan, meal prep. And the real difference is that with a meal plan, you're simply planning what you're going to eat. Whereas with meal prep, you're actually doing some of the cooking and preparation of the meals ahead of time. So both are great ways to make healthy eating easier and make sure you meet your health goals and take away some of the stress once the week gets crazy. But one is just thinking about what you're going to eat, and prepping is actually doing some work ahead of time on the meals you're going to eat.
So it sounds like a lot of work to do that, right? Especially on the weekends. For example, like I am so busy during the week, I just want to relax over the weekend. So why is it important to make a meal plan?
Yeah, and the number one reason is, even though it takes time, it actually saves you time. So let me ask you a question, Peachy. If you don't have a plan, how much time do you spend on a typical weeknight trying to figure out what to eat?
That's an excellent question. And I would say that it's a lot because a lot of things happen throughout the day. And I'm very calendar oriented. So everything is on my calendar. I work, my calendar is what drives my day. So if it's not on my calendar, it is not happening.
Right.
So with meal planning, I would say, like, I would think, okay, what do I want to eat today? So, and it depends on the day. It depends on the day.
It does. And then there's all those other considerations, like how much time do I have? Who else is eating with me? Does my family
Right.
want to eat what I want to eat? Do I have the things that I need to make the meal that I'm thinking about? And usually what happens is, forget it. We're just going to order some food, right? Because that's the easiest solution.
That's the easy out.
Yes. So it does take time. I'm not going to mislead you at all. It does take time to meal plan, and it does take some work. But what you end up doing is, instead of spending 10 or 15 minutes every single day of the week to think about what to eat every day, you're just spending 15 to 20 minutes in one chunk of time and making those decisions for the entire week. So yes, time on the front end, but it saves time throughout the week when we're typically busier. And it saves frustration because
No.
we've all had that conversation. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. I chose last time. You choose this time. Right. So it saves that frustration.
So that's a very excellent point. What is it that you recommend for people to do? Is it monthly? Is it weekly or bi-weekly?
Yeah. And that really is, that answer is as unique as the individual, because everyone is different. So what works for one person isn't going to work for another. And that's part of what I do with Keeping Healthy Simple Club when I work with individuals, is we make a personalized plan for each person. And so for someone, and bless these people, I love them, it's not me, they plan for a whole month at a time, and they shop for that month, and they batch cook, and I mean, the whole month is easy because it's all laid out and done. That's a bit much for me personally. I tend to do a week at a time. And when I say week, I usually plan 5 days because something's going to always happen in the middle of the week and I have to push things back. But if it's new to you, or a completely different way to approach thinking about your meals, then just start with 3 days, or pull it back even smaller and think today, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Right? So you can plan today for tomorrow or the next day if you need time to shop. Exactly. You just keep it simple, like what works for you. And as you get used to it, maybe you plan initially for 1 day, then for 3, then for 5. And then, hey, if you make it to the whole month, that's great.
Oh, hooray.
I think most people think on a weekly basis.
So on a weekly basis, I love it. So how long does it take you to do your own meal planning?
I will be brutally honest. I probably spend as much time procrastinating about doing it as I do actually doing it. But once I'm like, okay, sit down, just get it done. You know it's going to help you, right? Because not only that time and frustration we talked about, but it saves money, right? Because we're not doing impulse buys or throwing away food that we've bought that we don't use. I know I'm going to eat healthier because I have time to think about the balance of my meals instead of I'm hungry, I want to eat now. And it helps also in my household to recruit my husband to do some work, right? And you can recruit the kids because they know what's on the plan. So once I convince myself that, yes, there are enough benefits that it's worth it, stop procrastinating. It generally takes about 15 or 20 minutes. And I have a strategy that I share in my online course that walks you through how to meal plan, starting with what you have at home so that you can save money with your meal planning as well.
I love it. So how do we access that? I know I may be jumping here, but you mentioned it. So now I'm curious, right?
Yeah. So it's called Keeping Meal Planning Simple. And it's the Aspire strategy, because I think the way you love calendars, I love acronyms. And you can access that through my website, keepinghealthysimpleclub.com.
Excellent. I'm definitely going to check that out. So I am curious, Alexia, how do you make sure that the meals that you plan are healthy?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And healthy is different for everyone.
Oh, sure.
Right. So the first thing I would do is I have my own specific health goals that I'm working on and that my family is concerned with. So healthy is going to be different for me and different for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a different history as a heart attack survivor than someone who maybe is dealing with blood sugar or blood pressure issues. So we have to first think that there is no perfect, correct, right way to eat healthy. It's going to be different. So once we've accepted that healthy can be different for different people, then we have to think, how do I make this simple? And what I really recommend and what I do personally is I use those food groups as a guide. So in general, there are multiple versions of what is called the plate method, which is where you just look at a plate and divide it into proportions. So I try to base my meals on half a plate of vegetables, a quarter plate proteins, and a quarter of the plate starchy foods. And so by thinking of the portions of the plate in that way, I know that I'm filling up my plate. I'm going to have a full meal because I love food and love to eat as well. I don't want a small meal, but I also get that nutritional balance in there because I've got veggies, proteins, starchy foods.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on how big your plate is, right? Because you have this giant 12-inch plate, and you have a salad plate 7-8 inches, right?
Right.
So, and I heard you say half of the plate is veggies, right? So half of the plate is veggies. So that's not what I see in the traditional serving anywhere in restaurants. Usually you have a big carb, right? A big portion of it is carb. And then you have a tiny bit of protein and some veggies on the side. So I'm hearing this correctly, that veggies are good. Fill it half of it.
Yes. For most people, generally healthy adults, it load up on the veggies. Now, if you have certain gastrointestinal GI kind of digestion issues, that's going to change for you. But for most people, more veggies is a good thing. The average American does not eat enough fiber, which is found in vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And that's because as a culture, we've been down on carbs for a while. So we've taken out a lot of whole grains and fruits, and we're not eating enough vegetables. So anything you can do to up that fiber, and veggies are great because they generally don't carry as many carbohydrates or calories. So you get to eat a lot more of them for less of a cost, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. And that it's so funny. I know someone is listening or watching us right now thinking, I already knew that. I already knew that vegetables are good. We tell our kids all the time how awesome vegetables are for our health. It's just, it is very difficult because at least in our American culture, it's, when you go out to a restaurant, the serving of the carb is so much more than the vegetables or even the protein. So
and part of that, Peachy, is because those carbohydrate foods, rice, potatoes, pasta, those are less expensive generally than proteins and fresh vegetables. So it's more cost effective for those restaurants to fill your plate up with those inexpensive carbs. But if you are eating out, because meal planning is hard, and even if you meal plan, you're going to get stuck in that, man, I just don't feel like making what's on my plan today. It's still going to happen. You're going to go out to eat. And if you are eating out, having that knowledge, now to ask maybe for a double order of vegetables or 2 veggie sides, or start with a small salad. So there's ways that when you eat out, you can still kind of double down on those veggies, which is what many people need to do, and enjoy a meal out, eating the foods that you actually want to eat. Don't have to force yourself to like because you think it's healthier for you.
Right. And Alexia, I heard you say mid part there that compulsive, right? So because you're compulsive ordering out or going out to restaurants. So it's very true. We live it every day. We're so busy. If you don't have a plan, the tendency is, oh, I am so tired. Let's just go to this restaurant. And then once you get there, of course, you're so hungry, you're just going to load up on whatever they put on your plate, right?
Yes.
And most of it will be mostly carbs and probably fill it with sodium and whatever. I'm sure of it is filled with sodium. So that is that to me is a plus by itself.
Right.
So now, where do you get your inspiration? when you do meal planning.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing, right? So when you sit down and you look and you're like, what am I going to eat? It's like your just mind goes blank and you're like, I don't even know what food is. What am I going to eat? Right.
Right.
And I don't want chicken and broccoli and, brown rice again.
Every
Right.
time,
I'm
yes.
tired of that. Chicken is actually for years has been the most Googled type of recipe because everyone wants to know how can I make chicken less boring, right?
Yeah.
So for inspiration, there's a couple of websites that I used to promote when I worked at the University of North Florida as their wellness dietitian for the college kids, which was I think it was Stock My Fridge or something like that, or What's Cook My Fridge. But basically, there's websites where you can put in a couple ingredients you have in the house, and it will give you recipe ideas based on those ingredients. So that's always helpful if you've got a can or a jar of something that you just haven't used and you don't know what to do with it. One of my favorite websites, I've made a bunch of recipes off of it, and I think the name is unfortunate, but I think the recipes are amazing, is skinnytaste.com. Gina has a great way to pull together really delicious and simple recipes as well. So if you haven't checked out skinnytaste.com, check that out. And I'm not affiliated with Gina at all, but she does also use a registered dietitian with her recipes, so I can get behind that.
Okay.
A lot of recipe books and Googling. And of course, there's a difference between cooking and baking, right?
Oh,
So
sure.
baking, you have to be precise. Cooking, you can play. So a lot of times I just am like, I wonder what would happen if I put these things together and what could I make? So I do a lot of experimentation when I cook to try to come up with something flavorful and healthy and a little bit different. And that's where a lot of the inspiration for my online cooking classes comes from. Just different things I've been experimenting with and kind of perfecting to get the right balance of yum and healthy.
I love it. I love it. Yum and healthy don't usually
Yes.
come hand in hand, but every time I hear that, that's awesome.
Yes.
So I was thinking about this, right? So you have someone listening to us right now saying, "Okay, I am on board. I'm going to do that. I'm going to find recipes that I love. I'm going to make a plan for this next 3 days, okay? Because I'm going to do some baby steps."
Mhm.
Probably the first day that's going to work. The second day comes, and then the third day, same person goes, "No, I am too lazy today. I just don't have the energy to do this. I just want to go and call Uber Eats, right? And have them, or
Yes.
go on my app and have
Mhm.
something delivered." Do you have any tips for someone like that? Like when you have decided you're going to do it, but then things come up.
Yeah, and it's so true. That happens to so many people. So first of all, I just want to let you know if that happens to you, it's normal. It's okay, right? We might make a plan on Sunday and be have that Monday motivation, right? And we
Yeah.
know that feeling of it's Monday, it's a fresh start, a new week. But then Wednesday comes and real life has kind of slammed us, and we're like,
Yep.
yeah, this isn't going to work. So first of all, it's okay, it's normal. Just start again. And part of that, which is something I'm big on, and if you've ever heard me talk, let go of perfection. We all strive to be perfect, and perfection, if we can ever reach it, is going to last a split second, and then the world's going to throw us a curveball. So stop aiming for perfection, because something will happen. It's not if, it's when, to mess up your beautiful plan. So it's going to happen. Expect it. Don't think of it as a defeat. Think of it as life will always happen. And all you need to do is just move your meals back. So if Wednesday hits and it was a crazy day and you're too tired and you call Uber Eats, you didn't fail. You just move your Wednesday meals back to Thursday and you keep on going, right? Another tip, and this is one we've done for years, and our meal has changed over the years, but we always have a backup plan meal ready. And a backup plan meal is something that is, it lasts a long time. So we're looking at freezer and pantry items, right? Because we can keep those on hand. They don't go bad on us. And it's something you can get ready in 15 to 20 minutes. So it takes less time than actually getting something delivered or going out. And that backup plan can be as simple as, some frozen chicken breasts that we grilled, up to 3 months ago, they'll stay good. A steamer bag of veggies, a parboiled cup of rice, and some barbecue sauce to make a bowl. So we've always got something that's a backup and shelf stable. My last tip is put that meal plan where you're going to see it. If you make it and stick it in a drawer or throw it in a bag,
It's not going to work.
it's not going to work. You're not going to see it. So put it where you're going to see it. If it's in your day planner, your agenda, if it's on the refrigerator, inside the pantry door, just somewhere where you're going to see it and the people you live with are going to see it. So again, you can recruit them to help and get their own snacks, and get things started for you on those days that you're a little bit busier.
I love it, Alexia. So my wheels are turning and thinking, okay, meal planning is the first step. Some people would probably even take it to the next step, which is they might batch cook for the week.
Yes.
Right? If you could. So tell me what your thoughts are about that.
I love batch cooking. Batch cooking is such a time saver. And so this does cross into the meal prep, right? So we've made a plan and now we're going to start moving to prep. Batch cooking is a great way to start that. So what batch cooking is it's just cooking more than you need for the meal you're about to eat. So anytime you can, again, double down. So if you're going to, for example, make a casserole or a lasagna, don't make one, make two. Now you've got one that you can keep, chop up, freeze, and pull out of the freezer later. Generally, in my household, we batch cook proteins. So on the weekend, my husband fires up the grill. We put a bunch of meats because we are meat eaters. We cook them. What we can eat in the next 3 days, we leave in the fridge. Everything else gets individually wrapped and frozen. And then you just pull that out of the freezer 24 hours before you need it. So it defrosts and it's ready in time. So that's batch cooking proteins. You can also roast a few sheet pans of vegetables. Again, think, what can I eat in the next 3 to 4 days? Because we don't want them to go bad on us. And you can batch cook grains. So rice, quinoa, farro. And then where people get stuck with batch cooking is they think it's going to be boring because now I'm just going to have a plate that's a piece of chicken, that broccoli, and the rice. But what you don't realize is you can transform those leftovers in batch cooked foods into a lot of different types of meals. So I've already mentioned bowls. That's a great way to change up flavor. You can do flatbread pizzas, right? And top it with the chicken and the vegetables and a different kind of sauce, tomato or barbecue. You can do wraps and make sandwiches. Or you could throw everything in that end of the week kitchen sink salad where you're just trying to use everything up. So it's the same basic foods, but you can present them in different ways so that you don't get bored when you batch cook.
Right. So yeah, being bored, I don't like being bored with food. It's just not fun, for foodies out there. You don't want to eat the same thing over and over again. And then that's, again, you'll end up going back and saying, I'm just going to go order. I'm just going to go out to the restaurant.
Yes.
Because I don't want to eat the same thing I ate yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
And food boredom is the number one reason people give up on their nutrition plans. So if we can avoid that, we're going to get a lot more mileage out of our healthy eating plans.
That's good to know. I did not know that. So now we know we definitely want to nip that in the bud right away. We don't want to be bored of the taste of the food that we're eating. So, Alexia, if someone right now, well, first and foremost, before I ask you how people can get in touch with you, I want to talk to I know I have a lot of friends here that's listening, and also they are soccer moms, basketball moms, gymnastics moms, cheerleading moms. We are all busy. I mean, my kids' schedule, I'm a dance mom as well. I mean, It is crazy. So what Alexia and I are talking about here, I know you can relate because I can relate right now. And I'm thinking, okay, this is something that I know I should be doing, but I haven't really just had the time to do it, nor the energy to think it through. So now, Alexia, if someone like me want to get in touch with you, first and foremost, can you help someone like me? And then how do I get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. I can help. Again, food is one of my favorite things as well. And I have been coaching individuals since 2012. So coming up on 10 years, helping people find ways to reach their health goals, manage their lifestyle in the craziness of life, not waiting for everything to be perfect to get started, because that never will happen. So, yes, I do work with individuals. I also work with companies. So, if you have a business or a team of employees or a neighborhood group, even that you want to bring in a cooking class or a meal planning class, that is something I can do. So you can get in touch with me through my website, keepinghealthysimpleclub.com, or email info@keepinghealthysimpleclub.com. My phone number for the business is 904-595-7116. And I offer a couple of options. So those of you who are more do-it-yourselfers and want to go at your own pace, that online Keeping Meal Planning Simple course is a great place to start. And again, it's meal planning, not meal prepping, although I did throw a meal plan in there to help people get started. And if you want more individualized attention, because you feel like you need someone to kind of partner with you and work through the craziness of your schedule and all the demands and the different food preferences of all the different people in the house, I do offer an individual coaching package that is 4 sessions long to get started on that. I'm also looking for space. So anyone who has space to do some classes, feel free to reach out to me, and we can probably come up with something to do some classes for the community.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Alexia. This is near and dear to my heart. So this is super cool for me. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for all the tips that you've shared. And I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Information shared during the show are opinions of the speakers. They are not legal, financial, or tax advice specific to you. Consult your own specialist, attorney, accountant, financial planner, or insurance advisor for your specific situation.